Hi, James.
Hey, Monali, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad to be here today and sharing the mic and sharing the stage with you. So thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for this conversation and just to get to know about you and the work that you're doing, and also just to share more about myself.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it.
Yeah, for sure. So, my first question for you, James, is first, just tell me more about you, the work that you do here in Minnesota, and what got you to this point.
Sure. So I work for Children's Minnesota. My title is Senior Vice President of Government and Community Relations, and I'm also the Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer for Children's. The work that I do is real cool work. It's helping end health disparities in Minnesota. So making sure that we serve all the populations of our patients, no matter what race, ethnicity, gender identity, sexual orientation, or ability status. We all serve them in a very inclusive manner. Also, part of my job is making sure that we invest in communities that have been underserved. So, for example, we have a supplier diversity strategy that makes sure we spend more money with women and minority owned businesses as well. And then the final thing is that we diversify our workforce. We have about 45% of our patients that are people of color, but we have a workforce that's in our doctors and nurses about 92 to 91% majority white. There's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of families have said, hey, why can't we see more people who look like me given opportunities to be in these positions? So that's something we want to do as well. So that's it in a nutshell. I love my job. I've been doing it children's for 3 years. I've been doing diversity work about 20 years. I'm a recovering lawyer. So I used to be a lawyer, and I heard somebody on this screen wants to be one day, so we could talk about that too. But that's it in a nutshell about what I do for a living.
That's great. Yeah, I know. I think the work that you're doing right now is so necessary, in terms of trying to incorporate and diversity, equity, and inclusion within the healthcare field here in Minnesota. That's so important. I think that that has been so exemplified. I think in our society with the past 2 years with COVID and just the disparities with that. And yeah, I do want to go into the legal field one day. So I'll just share more about my background.
Sure.
My name is Monali Bhakta. I go by she, her, hers pronouns. And I graduated from Gustavus Adolphus College here in St. Peter, Minnesota, in May 2020. It was a very uncertain time with COVID and the long overdue racial injustice that just, was basically rectified, I think, especially in Minnesota and across this country. So that was a very contentious time. And it was also during the election, the 2020 election as well. So ever since then, ever since graduating, I have been politically and civically engaged. I worked for the Minnesota DFL party. Before that, I interned for Senator Klobuchar. And I think that, working in public service really taught me the value of how to serve underserved communities and really represent their interests in government. And that's something that I plan to carry on in my legal career as I plan to attend law school in the near future.
Okay. Well, in addition to sharing the mic, we share a lot in common. When I was in college, I worked for the Democratic delegation of the Georgia General Assembly, which is their legislative body, and I worked there my senior year in college. And then when I went to law school, I worked for a senator, U.S. senator from Georgia, White Fowler. So my politics and also my legal career kind of intersected as well. So, what makes you want to be a lawyer? What's exciting about it for you, and make sure you want to do the things that you can do as a lawyer?
Absolutely. So, I think, especially when it comes to why I want to pursue a legal career, it actually stems from my own personal experience. I personally want to practice immigration law. So, I think especially through my own lived experience, helping my parents navigate the complex and convoluted immigration system here in the US, that has really shaped my perspective of how the law can be used as a tool to really open up doors for immigrants in this country who have been mistreated and, in my opinion, have been mistreated and are just left behind by our system. And so I want to be able to provide that access to people and to help people understand, and make sure that make the process as easy for them as possible. And I have always been passionate about social justice ever since college.
Mhm.
So when it comes to practicing public interest law and actually making sure that I'm an advocate for people, I believe that a legal career is the best way that I can live out those values.
Okay, cool, cool. And
Absolutely.
by the way, I forgot. Happy Women's History Month too. So
Thank you. Thank
hashtag
you.
breaking the bias. So yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And just you just mentioned that something that I was going to ask is, why do you think it's so important to for people to be allies, especially during Women's History Month? And how have you felt as if your role as at Children's has served as being an ally?
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, the thing about it is when you have allies, you have people that can help bring equity to the table for women. You bring equity to the table for LGBTQ population. Bring equity for the table for those who've been racially discriminated against as well. The key thing for me about an ally is I can't determine whether my ally or not. The people I'm working for on behalf of have to determine that for me. They have to say, James, these are the things I need you to do. So you, as a woman, need to say, hey, I need you to show up for me, and then I need to do that. I can't come in with my ally cape on saying, you know what, Monali, I'm going to be an ally for you, and this is how I'm going to be an ally, and this is what I'm going to do. And I don't care what you need or want. This is how I'm going to do it. A lot of times, allies do things like that, and they're not allies. Then you're absolutely obstructionist at that point in time because you're not listening to the people who need that support. So I feel very comfortable and confident that when I come in, I make sure that women who I'm trying to help or trying to partner with to get more equity and equality, that I'm listening to them. One of the things I also try to do is check my own behavior. So as an ally, we are quick to jump out and say, "Hey, these are the things I'm going to do on your behalf," but we forget to check our own behavior and biases because we as men have misogynistic biases. We as men have biases that have led to a disproportionate number of women being underpaid on a regular basis for the same work. We as men also too have led to the lack of women CEOs in the country and the world. It's not because women can't do the job; we all know they can, but they haven't been given access and opportunity. So I got to check my own biases too, and then make sure that my women colleagues and friends are designating me like, okay, that's ally behavior, and then do the work.
That's so true and so important. And I think that is so necessary in so many different fields, actually, all fields across the work sector. And, do you have any other questions for me about the work that I do?
Well, sure. I mean, I want to know. We talked a little bit about biases and being an ally. Are there biases as a young woman that are impacting you or have impacted you, or any personal examples you want to give us?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, especially living here in Minnesota and coming from a immigrant family that still trying to navigate the immigration system, I think that there are so many, I think, implicit and explicit barriers and biases, I would say, that comes with living in the U.S. And not, being able to fit the majority of what this country views as, and having those privileges as well. So I think that has helped me see and just helped me understand that not everybody is obviously created equal. You can obviously read about that, but then when you actually experience it and when you see others having a leg up in society, it can definitely feel discouraging. It can feel discouraging to pursue your goals in terms of professionally and academically. But I've really tried to have a sense of community with others, and other fellow women, individuals who are also, come from underserved communities, and being able to really be in community with each other and to share our lived experiences and figure out how we can help each other to achieve our goals has been so therapeutic, and also just helped me see that I can achieve my dreams despite the barriers that are put in place for myself, for my family, for my friends, and also just makes me want to uh, basically advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in whatever capacity that I can, in whatever place that I'm pursuing as well.
Mhm. Well, I'm definitely glad to hear all of those great things and the things that you seem to have a great plan. The other thing I'll say that make sure you're doing this is having that group of friends who, as you described, are therapeutic for you to be supportive, to be there. Mental health is what we see a lot of young people, a lot of adolescents, a lot of adults during this pandemic, even before having challenges with. So their goals are set, their plan is set, but how they deal with their mental health and wellness and support mechanisms. So I strongly encourage you to do that, and strongly encourage you to keep encouraging other young women to have that support mechanism for their own mental health, wellness, and being as well. And do me this favor, let's keep in touch. Let's not make this a one time, share the mic. Let's share the lives of each other, and anything I can be assistance of, Monali, let me know, and I'll try to be there for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, James. That's really reassuring and just so uplifting. I appreciate it. I think it's so important to stick together in this work, and to really intersect, because um, it has to feel as if it's a movement towards progress for everyone in society. And I think that in so many different fields, it's so important to cross sect and just and advance this work together. So thank you. I'd love to stay in touch.
Sounds good. Have a great one now.
Yeah, you too. All right. Bye.
Bye.